What if your fiercest enemy were actually your greatest, undiscovered teacher? What if the storm inside you, the one you're trying so hard to push into a dark corner, holds the key to an unseen world? Most of us see anger as a fire that must be doused immediately with water, buried with sand, and suppressed at any cost, just so it doesn't burn and can't be seen. We fear its destructive power. We are ashamed of its wild face. We hide it like a shameful secret, suppress it, control, restrain. This is our usual reflex. But the wisdom of the ancients sees things differently, dear friend. They see this flame not as an enemy to be destroyed, but as a powerful, unbridled flow of energy. Energy that cannot be suppressed but transformed, not extinguished but directed, not feared but understood. Today, right here, I will reveal the 3 Buddhist steps so you can transcend your anger, rise above it, see its true nature, and use its hidden power. This is not about becoming an insensitive stone. It's about becoming a wise observer and mastering your inner weather. As Buddha said, you will not be punished by your anger. You will be punished by your anger. It's time to stop letting your anger control you. It's time to learn how to use them. Are you ready to face your enemy head on and discover its true identity? The first step on this path of transformation sounds simple, but it is profoundly deep. Acknowledge and stop. Don't run away. Don't attack in response. Don't silence your anger. Just acknowledge that it's there. Yes, there you are, anger. I see you. Imagine that you are walking along a forest path when suddenly a huge, menacing beast appears in front of you. What would a wise man do? Would he run away screaming and provoke a chase? Or would he wave his arms, trying to chase it away and only angering it more? No. A wise man would stop. He would freeze. He would take a step back. He will simply observe. The same goes for anger. It's the beast in your inner forest. The first reactions are to flee, suppression, or attack, outburst. But wisdom says, stop, pause. Create space between the trigger, what made you angry, and your reaction, your outburst or internal tension. How can you do this right now when your blood is already pounding in your temples? Here is your practical anchor: breathing. Yes, it sounds almost trite, but in this simplicity lies the power of centuries. When you feel a wave of anger rising, 1. Consciously stop all movement. Literally freeze for a moment. Imagine you pressed pause on the movie of your life. 2. Take a deep, slow breath through your nose, counting to 4 in your head. Feel the air filling your lower abdomen. 3. Hold your breath and count to 7. In this silence is your space of choice. 4. Exhale slowly through your mouth, counting to 8. Imagine that with this exhalation, you are releasing the initial steam of anger and its most acute phase. Just one cycle, 4 to 7 to 8. This is your instant tool for creating a pause. Buddha taught, victory over oneself is the greatest of victories, and this victory begins with the simple ability to not react immediately or automatically. Stopping your breath stops the wheel of automatic reaction. Why does it work? Because anger is not just an emotion, it's a physiological storm in your body. It causes a rapid heartbeat, muscle tension, and a surge of hormones. Deep conscious breathing sends a signal to your nervous system. Stop. The danger is overrated. Calm down. You literally change your body chemistry. However, acknowledgement isn't just about breathing in the heat of the moment. It's also about being honest with yourself afterwards. When the storm subsides, ask yourself, What really upset me? What was my sore spot? What need of mine was not met? Respect, understanding, or fairness? Anger rarely arises out of nowhere. It often masks a deeper wound or fear. Remember Buddha's words from the Dhammapada. Our thoughts become our words. Our words become our actions. Our actions become our destiny. Pausing in the moment of anger gives you the chance to break this chain before the thought turns into a destructive word or action. This is your first act of true control over your destiny. Here's a provocative philosophical question. What is more valuable to you at this moment? The instant, albeit toxic, satisfaction of an outburst, or long-term peace of mind and in your relationships? Will you be a slave to your immediate reaction, or the master of your conscious pause? You took the first and most courageous step. You stopped, acknowledged your anger, and took a moment to breathe. Now that the initial wave has passed, it is time for the second step. Explore and learn. Approach this step with deep curiosity, free of fear or judgment. Imagine you are a scientist studying an amazing, albeit turbulent, phenomenon in your own laboratory of consciousness. Imagine anger as a turbulent, muddy river, not a monster. What would a wise person do at such a river? Do they jump in headfirst, trying to overcome the current? Or do they retreat in fear? No, they sit on the bank. They observe. They study. Where does this river flow from? What does it carry in its waters? Why is it so swollen? Where is it going? Here is your tool for exploration. Mindful observation. Non-judgmental. Imagine you are looking at an interesting but unfamiliar cloud in the sky. When the anger is still smoldering, or when you analyze the situation later, ask yourself these simple but powerful questions. Where in my body do I feel this anger right now? Clenched fists, burning chest, stone in my stomach, trembling knees. Scan your body with curiosity. What thoughts are racing through my head, fueling this fire? He did it on purpose. Zrение. Это несправедливо. Zrение. I don't deserve this. Just notice them as they float by like clouds. Don't cling to or argue with them. What is behind this anger? What deeper emotion or need is hiding? Fear of rejection? Pain from misunderstanding? Powerlessness? Thirst for justice? Need for respect? This is a key Buddhist practice. Mindfulness, sati. The Buddha taught, whatever the mind is, it is preceded by the mind, led by the mind, and created by the mind. Dhammapada. By observing your mind and body sensations, including angry thoughts, without getting involved, you begin to see. Anger is not I. It is a temporary state of mind, conditioned by causes and conditions. You are not a cloud of anger. You are the sky that observes it. This is where the fundamental Buddhist truth of Anitya or impermanence comes into play. Remember, someday this anger will pass. Isn't it already less intense than it was a minute ago? See? It changes and flows like that river. It is not eternal. It's not solid. It's a process. By observing its changeability, you deprive it of its power to seem all-consuming and permanent. This too shall pass is not just a pretty phrase. It's a law of the universe. Practice for integration. Emotion labeling. When anger or any strong emotion arises, say to yourself, anger. Anger arises, or feeling of anger. Heat in the chest. Thought of injustice. Just name it, without judging it as good or bad. This simple labeling creates distance between you, the observer, and the emotion, the observed object. You stop being anger. You see anger. This is liberating. As you explore anger, You may encounter karmic seeds, deep imprints of past hurts, fears, and response patterns. Don't be afraid. Awareness is the first step in dissolving them. As Buddha said, we are what we think. Everything we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we create the world. By exploring the thoughts behind your anger, you can begin to change your world. Here's a provocative philosophical question. Would you rather be someone carried away by a torrent of anger, unable to see the shore, or someone standing on the shore, understanding the nature of the river, and choosing how to interact with it? Do you recognize your power to not be consumed? You acknowledged your anger instead of running away from it. You examined its nature and recognized its changeability and insubstantiality. Now, it's time for the most magical step. Transform and act with wisdom. Here, we transition from passively observing to actively using the energy released from the captivity of blind rage. Imagine that turbulent river of anger. A wise observer on the shore doesn't just watch. They understand that there is power in this water, but it is chaotic and destructive. What if we channeled this water, not to flood the neighboring village, your relationships, health, or reputation, but to turn a mill wheel, to irrigate fields, to generate energy? How can you transform anger into something positive? Here is the key: compassion, karuna, and understanding. Yes, even toward the person who caused your anger. First and foremost, have compassion and understanding for yourself. Buddha taught, hatred does not cease by hatred. Hatred ceases by love. This is an eternal law, Dhammapada. This does not mean justifying bad deeds. It means understanding the reasons. Ask yourself calmly after reflection, what could have led this person to such actions or words? Their own pain, fear, ignorance, fatigue, karmic patterns. Have I ever experienced similar feelings, pain, fear, or helplessness, that could have turned into anger? Think back. Surely you have. Asking this question is a bridge to understanding. You and the offender are not enemies at heart. You both suffer from ignorance, attachments, and pain. His anger, manifested in action, and your anger, a reaction, are links in the same chain of suffering. Seeing this, your anger begins to melt away, giving way to a deeper feeling, compassion for human imperfection, including your own and that of others. This is true transformation. The fire of rage becomes the warmth of understanding. Transformation practice. Water instead of fire. Once you have recognized, explored, and felt compassion for your anger, imagine that the energy of your anger is not fire, but a powerful stream of water. Pure, strong water. Direct this stream inside yourself, not to destroy, but to purify. Imagine how the water washes away your pain, old resentments and fear. It washes away tension, leaving clarity and calm. Then, if you can, direct this flow outward as a stream of compassionate understanding toward the person who angered you. Imagine how this pure water washes away their pain, confusion, and anger. This is not to justify their actions, but to understand the suffering person behind them. Now, let's talk about action. Transcending anger does not mean becoming a passive doormat. Wisdom allows you to act effectively and without venom. Use the leftover energy after the transformation not for destruction, but for clearly and calmly expressing your boundaries and feelings. When you did X, I felt Y, anger, hurt, or disappointment, because Z, respect, honesty, or agreements, is important to me. I need. Speak from I without accusations. Constructive problem solving. If the conflict requires a solution, approach it with a cool head after the transformation. Directing anger energy into a constructive channel provides focus and persistence, creativity or physical activity. Write, draw, sing, run a kilometer, or punch a pillow. Channel your energy into creation or a healthy release. Remember the golden rule: the choice is always yours. Awareness and understanding provide the space necessary to choose your response. Buddha reminded us, no one can save us except ourselves. No one can, and no one has the right to. We must walk the path ourselves. Transformed anger becomes fuel for growth, not destruction. Here's a provocative philosophical question. What kind of energy do you want to contribute to the world? The blind, destructive force of unbridled anger, or the conscious, transformative power of wise action and compassion? What mark do you want to leave behind? Dear friend, here we are at the source of your new strength. 3 steps. Acknowledge and stop. Explore and learn. Transform, then act with wisdom. This is not magic. It's mind training. Your anger is not your enemy. It is your strict but invaluable teacher, pointing out your weak spots and hidden energy. I challenge you. Right now, choose one of the practices from this video, such as 4-7-8 breathing, emotion labeling, or exploring what's behind the anger, and apply it for 7 days. Just 1 week. Start a journal. Notice the shifts. How have your reactions changed? In your inner world? Share your experience below. Write in the comments. My choice is transformation. Which practice resonated with you the most? What difficulties did you encounter? Your words could guide others navigating this emotional journey. Remember, the journey begins with a single conscious breath. Don't wait until anger burns all your bridges. Start today. Start now. From this very moment, you have the wisdom within you to transform a storm into a gentle breeze and fire into light. As ancient Zen wisdom says, carry the light, and the darkness will dissolve. Bring the light of awareness to your anger, and you will see that it has nothing to feed on. If you find this path resonates with you and feel that you need more revelations like this, subscribe to the channel. Most people watch without subscribing, but your subscription sends a clear message. Yes, I choose wisdom. I am moving forward. Together, we reveal the hidden power in life's most ordinary and difficult moments. See you in the next video where we'll continue exploring.